Hello and welcome to Huddersfield Town's preview show in association with Sports Broker ahead of our game against Coventry City. Now, this is a preview show with a twist. Obviously, Huddersfield Town fans will know today as a very memorable day, our last ever game at Leeds Road. This was in 1994, obviously. We beat Blackpool 2-1. That was so 27 years ago. And to help us remember that game, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by, obviously, Huddersfield Town legend Andy Booth, Phil Starbuck and Lee Martin, who obviously played for Huddersfield Town, but was in goal for Blackpool that day. How are you all? You okay?
Good, thank you.
Fantastic, thank you.
Right, Adam, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you all for coming on. I mean, Boothie, that game, the atmosphere, and to win, it was just a fantastic day in Huddersfield Town's history.
Yeah, it was a big game for everybody. Probably when Lee talks about it, it was a big game for Blackpool as well. But yeah, we'd had a funny season. Obviously, with Neil Warnock's first year, and we started poorly, and we're bottom of the league. And really, we had a really good turnaround. Got in the Autoglass final, played in that, and then to cap it off, the last game ever at Leeds Road. And yeah, you're right. What a fantastic occasion. All four sides were full of Huddersfield Town fans. For us, it was more of a celebration. It wasn't about winning the game or losing. We were safe, so it didn't matter to us. But to be able to win, just capped off the last ever game to win. But yeah, I'll never forget the scenes, and especially right at the end when all the fans were on the touchline and the ball wasn't going out of play. Literally, we probably played 25 minutes, 30 minutes, the ball not going out of play because it just kept banging off the fans' legs and staying in place. As it was all right for me as a goalkeeper, but as outfit, we needed a break, and as long as we get the ball out of play.
What was it like building up to that game, Phil? Because obviously you club captain at the time. There was a massive buzz around the town, knowing it was going to be the final game. The stands were full of Huddersfield Town supporters. What was that like?
Like Booth said, it was just really exciting. There was a real buzz and a real atmosphere. The week leading up to it in training, there was a few comments about, like Booth has already said, that we were safe. We didn't really need to win it, but of course we wanted to. And what a great thing to do, to finish on the last game ever in the stadium, but to win. I don't think it was anyone's mind in any way, shape or form about scoring. It was just about winning the game. And I was playing left wing at the time. I was on that flipping graveyard shift. I don't know why Warnock liked me out there, but he did. And so in the second half, I was on far side. And it was just one mass of people. All I remember is kept saying to the ref, flipping long ref, come on, blow up. And it, like Booth said, it just went on forever. It was like the game lasted 2 hours. It felt like forever. But amazing atmosphere. I don't think I've ever played in a game like it or since. Well, not since. I've been playing for a long time, but do you know what I mean? But an amazing atmosphere. But also, you know, quite like kind of a sentimental occasion. There was a tinge of sadness to it that that was going to be the last ever game on Leeds Road. So it was real mixed emotions from my perspective.
And obviously, Lee, you were fighting for survival with Blackpool at that point as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was still living out of Huddersfield. I mean, I always commuted from Huddersfield to all my clubs, Blackpool, Maxfield, Halifax, obviously not far away, but, you know, so I even knew how big it was for the Huddersfield fans and players being the last game. But, I mean, for us as a club at Blackpool, who I was playing for at the time, we had 2 games to go. And, you know, looking at the table as it was, we needed 2 wins, really. So for us to go to Leeds Road for the last game, obviously all the emphasis and pressure was on really both clubs to do well, them to finish off in a flurry and us to try and stay in the league. So it was a lot, you know, a lot of pressure on both teams to do something for that game. I mean, unfortunately, we lost. Even if we'd have taken a draw, it would have been a good result going into the last game. But we had to go then, last home game for us. We had to hope to beat Leyton Orient at home and hope Swansea beat Fulham at Swansea. And that actually happened. So we did a switch around us and Fulham on the last day. So it didn't really matter looking back now. So I was quite pleased for the likes of Andy, obviously, and the local players, because they've grown up around it forever, you know, like I have. I've been going to Leeds Road. The first ever game I ever watched was at Leeds Road when I was 11 years old. So it's, funny, mixed emotions on the day, really.
I was going to say, I bet it was a bit strange for you, obviously, growing up in Huddersfield, playing for Huddersfield Town before you went to Blackpool. And then it's funny how kind of football does the full circle where you end up playing in the last game at Leeds Road.
Yeah, I mean, I do look back on it now, though, fondly about that, no matter what the result, because, I mean, I was there as a player and a physio, totaling something like 15 years. And I absolutely adore the club, grew up in the area, still live in the area. You know, lost touch a little bit how and where they are now, but generally, it's always been my first club and always will be.
Yeah, I can imagine, Boothie, going into this one, Neil Warnock's team talk pretty much wrote itself, didn't it?
Yeah. To be fair, I think we they were pressure on us, but I think we treated it as a celebration. Let's go and enjoy this, because we're never going to play in this stadium again. And if we can put on a little bit of a show for the fans came down in the thousands. Like I said, it were practically a full house. So, yeah, Neil, for what I remembered, he was quite laid back for what it was. I might be wrong there, but at half time, I think we were 1-0 up. Okay, obviously, I know the score, but
yeah, 1-0 up. Yeah,
1-0 at half time, Boothie, I think.
But it 1-1.
Yeah, Andy Watson got an equaliser for us in the first half.
Did he? I can remember, obviously, Simon Baldry, and then obviously
Simon scored very early on, didn't he? I mean, who was that? Was it Logan who had the big throw?
Yeah.
I mean, he chucked one in a mile, and I mean, it missed all the centre halves at the front, and it ended up bouncing right over to the far post. Simon came in, and he even missed it that, and it bubbled in far corner, you know. So, really bad start for us.
It was about 31 seconds, I think.
That was it. Yeah, I didn't know. Was that how quick it was? I didn't know it was so soon. Oh, dear. Yeah, last thing we wanted, but it was good. I mean, we struck back, Andy Watson got a goal for us. It was 1-1 at half time, you know, all to play for.
But you're not saying that Phil's goal would a bobble as well, why? You're not telling us?
I hate to say.
That's what you're going to say.
I've always wanted to have this conversation with Phil about that finish, because I've got a picture at home of him, you know, swinging away at it. I'm actually not in the picture. Got a great shot of you, Phil, with you finishing the goal, but I swear at the time you kind of went to hit it, but you kind of hooked it, and it literally just shot into the bottom corner. So I'll be honest now, did you mean it?
Yeah, it was an half volley. What I didn't mean, it's hit it really well, but what I didn't mean, if I'm honest, is the lad that tried to block it went straight through his legs.
Ah, right.
So that's what it was. So that was very fortunate. But I caught it all right, to be fair.
Yeah, good finish. I'll have to live with that now, Phil.
Sorry, mate. It was Boothie's fault. He flicked it on.
Yeah, I think was it from another long throw, or
it was, yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
And to be fairly, you wouldn't have had any chance saving it, because, like Phil says, it's gone through his legs and it's gone into fight. You'd never say.
Yeah, I mean, it just went inside the post, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think you got a flick on, and I think, did Ian Dunn flick it on as well or something? Was there two flick-ons?
I think he did, didn't he? I think Dunny had something to do with it as well.
Yeah, he was generally about Ronnie flipping, messing about, wasn't he, Dunny lad?
Well, he would all right. He'd only just come on and done it, and he only played about 20 minutes every game, didn't he?
Yeah. Talking about Neil Warnock, by the way, I spoke to Mick Jones today, and so he sends his regards to the chaps that I told him was doing this, and he said, send my regards, so I'm passing his regards on.
Oh, brilliant. How is Mick? How's he doing? So I've not seen him for a long time.
He's unfortunately got blood. He's had blood cancer. He was free of it for 2 years, but you don't know if it's come back. He's got a lump in his elbow, but he's in good spirits and he sends his regards. So.
Oh, brilliant! Will you give him my best? If you see him again, Phil, I say I've not seen him.
I will. I'm speaking to him. I'm speaking to him soon. He wants me to do some work at one of his houses.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, well, Mick would have been part of it. Sorry, Lee.
So, Phil, is it Mick Jones who used to work with Billy Eyre?
I don't know if he did. Yeah. He did a lot of time with Neil. He was at Notts County with him, and obviously came to Huddersfield. I don't know if it's the same one, but
I think it is. Yeah, was he? Yeah, you'd have to ask him. Was he at Halifax with Billy Eyre?
I'll ask him. Yeah,
I'm sure he was his assistant at Halifax.
Yeah, he went to Plymouth Argyle, and then I went to Plymouth with him for the last 6 weeks of the last season I ever played. And I stayed in his farm. But yeah, top man, really nice bloke. Got on with him well.
I think it is. I think it is actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say he's a nice bloke, but he was like the calming influence with Neil Wanty. Obviously, he'd fly off the handle with Warnick and then miss and bring it down to reality, wouldn't it? Well, obviously, Neil just says how it is, but then Mick could like build it back up and say, "Look, it's not that bad, is it?"
Yeah. It was almost like they complemented each other, didn't they? It was almost like good cop, bad cop scenario. I'm sure Neil just wanted to get some stuff off his chest to make himself feel better, and then Mick could just come and pick the bits up, wouldn't he? Sweep up after.
He would, yeah. You were always happy if Mick were talking to you because you knew you were scared. You knew at least it was going to be all right.
That's right, yeah.
We mentioned obviously that Simon Baldry scored just 31 seconds in, Boothie. It's quite fitting for him to score that opening goal, wasn't it? A Huddersfield lad, young Huddersfield lad as well.
Yeah, and he won all the young with Simon. And he came in, I think he was only a first year pro, and he came in, I think like transfer deadline day when like Tom Cowan came in, and that's when we really turned the corner. And he did really well, lad, to score one of the goals. You couldn't have earned it, and it'd just be nice if Phil had passed that like to me or to one of the other local lads playing, and we both could have scored it.
I was going to say, Boothie, 150 goals for Huddersfield Town. How many of them would you have given up to have scored in that game, and it'd have been you instead of Phil?
Oh, I'd have given at least 3, definitely. But no, obviously, we just wanted to win. It'd been whoever scored that last goal. That's what you get remembered for the person to have scored the very last goal at Leeds Road. It's a big accolade because you look at the players who've gone before. You look at the history of Huddersfield Town. It's a massive achievement. So Starby's gone down in the record books, the history books, as being the last ever person to score. So, I'd have loved to have been that person, yeah. But it fell to Phil, and like we said, we can joke about it, but it was a great finish. So he deserved that accolade. It'll be in the history books forever with Huddersfield Town.
Didn't we find out, Andy, that the first goal you ever scored for Huddersfield was against me as well?
Well, if Adam's done his homework, he'd have known.
Because I remember you asking me if I had it on video, didn't you? I said, well, not as a keeper, I'm not going to keep a record of the goals I've conceded. So, but I think I'm right in saying that.
Yeah. I wasn't going to bring it up, Lee, because it's something to boast about. But
I blanked it out, but I can actually visualise it now, so that's a bit of a worry.
Who was it again? Where was that at?
That was at Bloomfield Road, at my place, yeah. Blackpool, yeah.
You'll have played, Derby.
Yeah. I remember you playing first few games because you did not score at Bournemouth away at all early on.
No, I scored at Blackpool and then scored the very next. We played Mansfield at home, and I scored. It was me and Mark Stewart. Remember Mark Stewart, the winger?
Yeah.
We both scored, so we won 2-1 in both games, and we both scored in them. And then I got injured the very next. Well, I ended up playing in the reserves on the Wednesday night against, and I got injured and were out for the rest of the season. So I only played them 2 games. But yeah, I remember the goal against Leeds. I can't remember who put it me through, so it was a 1-on-1, and I knocked a little bit too far in front of me, which made you try and come out, Lee. And because I was a little bit quicker back then, I got in front of you and just dinked it over you. And
that surprised me, I think, out of everything you faced, because I thought, I've got this. And we both sat right together and you dinked it. And I remember turning around, it seemed to take about 10 minutes to get to the line, didn't it? I did. Just hit the inside of the post and just nestle a little bit as well.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. But yeah, I'll never forget that. And it's great to, and obviously, me and you have known each other a long time. When I was an apprentice, you were a first, well, obviously pro league, but then being a physio all the time with me. So I spent a lot of time, my later years in my career, in physio rooms. So, so for me to be able to score my first ever goal against you, that's better than scoring the last goal on Leeds Road.
Yeah. See, I've no comeback playing in goal. I've got nothing, have I? I can't talk. We'll talk about this season after, where we beat them 2-1 at Bloomfield Road, but that's about it.
But what about that game when we beat you 4-1 at Bloomfield Road?
I remember Starby there was absolute unbelievable. Do you remember that game, Phil? Yeah, absolute blinder.
Is that
first game of the season? I was player of the year before, and then Blackpool went out and signed Les Seeley. And he played in goal. We played you guys, Huddersfield, on the first game of the season at home, and you beat us 4-1. And you were in midfield then, and you absolutely destroyed us.
I can't remember. I remember playing there, and did we not get beat? We scored early doors, and you beat us 2-1, I think. But I can't remember.
That was another season, I think. Yeah. But for 4-1 opening game, yeah, you beat us.
Take that.
Okay. Yeah. They were like it was one of them. It was a sunny day, first game of the season. So I think all the fans had come for weekend in Blackpool, and they were pitching there. I think we had to go off pitch and in change rooms a couple of times. Like it was a brilliant atmosphere, wasn't it? It was tense and a bit vicious at some points, but yeah, I think Ronnie Jepson and Paul Reed scored 2 goals apiece, and we were brilliant that day. And that's when, obviously, that was playoff year that we got up. But from that first game, you're thinking this could be our season. So, happy you want in goal, Lee?
It only took about 9 games, and then he left anyway. He couldn't handle it.
Am I right in saying that Neil Warnock went mad at Blackpool away one year?
He went mad all the time. Pick your game, any game.
Yeah. There weren't many games that he didn't. Even if we were winning, even if we were at half time, he some picked faults and that what we'd done wrong in that first half or after the game. There weren't many games where you didn't get roasting. So
it disappeared, went into the shower room with Mick Jones, and you can just sense it coming. And then he'd just come in, roll his sleeves up, and that'd be it.
It would. There were no hiding place. What the problem with me was I used to sit next to Ronnie Jepson, and like Neil would go for Ronnie, and Ronnie had always come back and say, "Well, what about Boovy? He didn't do that." Say, "Yeah," and Warner could and go on to me then, and Ronnie did it every time.
What was he like in training, Neil? Was he that aggressive? Well, angry in training as well, or was he not too bad?
I think he was more relaxed in training, wasn't he? I mean, I remember the lead up to the Autoglass when we go training. He was the most superstitious manager I've ever played for. So the meal that we'd had prior, we had to go to the same restaurant, sit in the same seats, have the same meal. And then the last training session, he stopped the training. I don't know if you can remember, Booth. He stopped the training because he'd seen one magpie and he wouldn't start till he saw another. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh my!
Yeah.
There's
And
5
literally,
warm-ups.
yeah, and literally we're there for half an hour, weren't we, Starby? Grown men looking for another magpie, and he wouldn't.
I know.
Stopped it.
Trying to fish one out of the flipping bushes and the trees.
There's another one. I don't know if you were there, Starby, but we'd lost a few games, so he said, right, Friday morning, never mind about set pieces and that. We're going to go for a walk. So we went for a walk on Canker Lane on the canal down to Leeds Road and past. And somebody got a stick and we started throwing a stick in. So lads were bored walking, so we ended up throwing sticks in and doing like sticks racing sticks. And Warnock obviously loved this, so he got us all together and we're all off on end of one at Bridges hanging over, throwing the sticks in, seeing whose stick wins. And obviously that was training that day. So Saturday game, we won the game. So every Friday until we lost, we ended up walking, finding. So we were coming into training at one point. All we're like, with Paul Reed and Lee Duxby and them, were like the joke, is it? But we're like, had found sticks in their own garden, sharpened them, and like got sails on them and that. They took it seriously.
Putting sails on them.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Phil, just bringing it back to that final game at Leeds Road. What was that goal like then? What were the celebrations like when you scored it?
Oh wow, flipping it! I think I just peeled round to the left and just happy as Larry. And obviously it's the usual celebration. The lads come around and things. But for me, it always felt like Blackpool were still in it. You know, I think there was a couple of close calls and things, and you're just desperate for the whistle to go. But obviously, to score the last goal, I can't put it into words. It's just a massive honour. Publicly and in the press, I've said many times, my worst decision ever was leaving Huddersfield. And I just think it's a great club. Still got a lot of time for the club, and I've got a lot of happy memories there. So to score the last ever goal, it's just awesome, massive. I can't put it into perspective or words. It's just quite humbling. And I'm just very grateful that it was me.
When did it sink in that it was the last ever goal at Leeds Road? A really historic moment.
Well, it didn't really for a while, because you relive it, you're thinking about it, and then obviously you do whatever you do at the end of the season, you go on holiday or whatever. But it's quite bizarre that your name's in the history books. Like Boothie said, it'll be in the history books forever. It's just quite weird and quite bizarre, but just such a great feeling. Just feel just really blessed, thankful that there's a part of me that will be in Huddersfield forever. It's quite crazy, really.
Yeah, and then there was obviously a pitch invasion at the final whistle, Boothie. Like Phil said earlier, complete mixed emotions, wasn't it? From fans, a lot of happy faces, but a lot of people where it was quite sad because it was the end of an era.
Yeah. Well, and after the game, that was probably the most scariest I've ever been on a football field, because, like I said, all the fans were on the touchline. So, and when we knew we were getting close to 90 minutes up, they were even creeping onto the pitch because they wanted to be a part of history. And I remember the referee, the players, I'm going to blow the whistle in 1 minute, get ready to go off, because you knew it was going to be a pitch invasion. Well, I was one of the furthest at the far end. I'd gone to chase a ball. And I remember in blowing the whistle, all of a sudden, you've got thousands and thousands of fans running to the pitch. And they don't realise when you're just stood there and you've got 20, 30 men, grown men, running at you. Then I got knocked to the floor. So I'm on the floor, literally on the floor, when people are stamping across you, trying to get to the tunnel to the rest of the players. And I'll never forget it. There were 2 or 3 blokes grabbed me by the shirt and yanked me up and put me on the shoulders and carried me. So I was carried off the pitch at the last ever game of the ground. But it was terrifying. At one point, you're thinking, hang on a minute, this is a bit. It's not right. The fact that, because they didn't know that I was on the floor, like, so them 3 blokes were really. did, I'd say save my life, but really did help me. But and then it was all a celebration. I can remember all the players going into the stand, and I think Neil did a big speech and celebration. But then once we came out again after being changed, there were still people in the stands just sitting there thinking, we're never going to be it. This has been my life, and I'm never going to see it again. And that's when you realise, it's people's. This is all they've known. Some 60, 70, 80-year-old blokes there that have been there right from since they were 4 or 5-year-old. You were never going to see that again. And then you realise it. What football really means to the supporters. It does it from celebrations. You do thinking, hang on, it is a sad day as well.
Hey, I think I was on that side as well. I was playing left wing and we were kicking that way, so I was on the far side as well. And I got 15 yards in from when the whistle blew. And similar, I didn't get knocked to the floor, but it just got picked straight up. I'm like, flipping, I could do this every week, getting carried off. But not only that, my boots were gone in 3 seconds, my shin pads were gone, my shirt got tucked. By the time I got off, really got me flipping strides on, and that was it. And maybe one sock. So I don't know who's got my shorts and socks that I wore that day, but someone's got them.
That's definitely something for Twitter. If anyone's watching, if you've got Phil Starbuck's shirt, shin pads, boots, let us know.
They can have them. I don't need them anymore, you'll be right. But bizarre, but what a great celebration. And I remember that, but I also remember I took my kids in the dugout after the game later on. We'd had a couple of drinks and went and took my kids in the dugout, and I took a photograph of them in the dugout. And like Boothie said, there was people just dotted around. Some people were in tears. Some people sat on their own quiet at the corner flags or in the stand. And it was a quite surreal moment, really. But I guess there was an excitement from the players' perspective of across the road, we could see the new ground being built. And it was exciting for us to be able to play at the new stadium as well. We know we've left that history, everything moves on. And I think we lifted the County Cup that year, beat Leeds, I think 3-1. Yeah, so the game, it has to go forward, doesn't it? We're happy for the memories, but everything moves on and we go forward.
Yeah, Boothie, did you manage to keep hold of all your stuff? Did you see any fans taking anything from out of the ground? I think we've heard stories of people obviously taking parts of the turf. All sorts of signs away from the ground. Did you see any of that?
We did at that point. No, we didn't see much because fans were just all on the pitch. So you could see them digging a piece of turf up and that. You could see that, but it would only afterwards when you hear the stories. And I would only a lady would email me a couple of months ago. And she pinched the toilet seat out of one of the toilets. And I'm thinking, come on, at least, surely there's something else to pinch rather than that. But she said, it's that all my life. So she's still got it with her.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It certainly is a day that lives long in the memories of Huddersfield Town supporters. Just focusing on modern day, obviously, this is ahead of the Coventry City game. A massive game for this football club, Phil.
They're all big, aren't they? There's no small games at that level. It's a massive game. If I'm honest, I'm not too sure how Huddersfield's form is recently. I see they beat Forest at Forest, which is a fantastic result. But I'm not 100% up to speed with how form is, how they're playing. The snippets I've seen when we've done the commentary on a few occasions, they've tried to play good football. It seems like they've got a good management staff and the manager wants to play football the right way, what I deem the right way. Hopefully they can go and get a good result. It looks like they're safe, does it not?
Close, but not there
close.
yet.
Rotherham. Rotherham on a sticky wicket. I'm sure they've got a game in hand, though, haven't they?
Yeah, Luton.
But all you got to do is, beat Coventry Saturday, be okay. Focus on the next game, play to your strengths, work hard, and hopefully they'll get a result.
Yeah, obviously, Lee, you've gone into physiotherapy since you stopped playing professionally. I'll ask you what Boothie was like to deal with in just a moment, but Town have had loads of injuries this season. I can imagine being in a medical department, having the amount of injuries that Town have had, maybe between 8 and 10 at some points, is a complete nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had it. I mean, the difference is now. I mean, Andy will tell you, when I was there, I was basically doing what probably 8 people are now doing. I was, at one point, it was quite funny. Andy will tell you, I came back, signed as the physio, but for the first, I think one of the keepers went down ill, injured. And I think 5 games of the first 15, I was the physio, stroke, goalkeeping coach, stroke, player. I was on the bench for 5 games, so that was me supposedly retired, and I'm sat on the bench as the reserve keeper. So I've kind of got, teams get injured, injured players, and and it's never changed as that. There's all the modern treatments, preparation, recovery, and yet it still happens. The pace of the game's quicker now. It's you're more likely to pick up injuries and things. So it's just the fact that even they've got probably 3 physios, 3 masseurs, sports scientists, dietitians, and yet it's still happening, isn't it? It's at the end of the day, it's a very risky sport.
And what was Boothie like looking after his knees?
I tell you what, with Andy, I always used to say it was hard to motivate, but if you set him a challenge, it was absolutely brilliant. I'm not, people always used to say that, I bet he was always injured and all this, and he wasn't. He was in the last few years of his career, he was playing a hell of a lot, and the little niggles he had. He was only generally out for a week, but you can tell he did look after himself. I think he played it down quite a lot. I think he took a lot on board with what I brought in as well. I don't think he was fond of the ice baths, which I introduced, but I think it was one of the few actually we brought in compression, which was after you'd played, you'd wear compression on your legs because it helped you speed up recovery. You'd sort of get a reduction in achy legs, and he was one of the few who actually would take his foam roller away with him. He'd wear compression. All lads moaned about ice baths, but I think a lot of them started to realise how well it was helping them recover. And so a lot of them used to just do it off their own back, and took it forward. So, but no, it was, if you set Andy a challenge in the gym, he was good at it. But if you just let him get away with it, which a lot of apparently physios before me did, not naming any names, but I think you could often find him playing a game of cards somewhere. So I think if you motivate him, he's all right.
You know what, Lee? You spot on there. Yeah, I totally agree. But it made you, and you did obviously the compression, all that, the rollers you brought in, the ice baths. I thought they were brilliant. I hated them, but they were really, really good. But the best thing with your training was you got 2 mountain bikes, and so me and you, I didn't train that much, did I? But me and you used to get on mountain bikes, go up the canal all the way to Stanage Tunnel at Marsden, come back, and then we'd call for fish and chips in Slathwaite, wouldn't we? I can't, accept that happened actually. But I did actually, once we were going along the canal once, I did try and shove him in, which it's sort of realising what I tried to do afterwards wouldn't have gone down well in the press, really, would it?
That's the kind of physio you want. Flipping heck, take you for fish and chips.
Amazing, isn't it?
He's playing.
No, it was a jacket potato and a salad, Starbuck.
Yeah.
You're
playing to do that.
Did they?
Yeah, take us some fish and chips after a game.
Yeah, but always did, didn't we?
Always. It's coming out now.
Away game. Yeah, away games you did, didn't you? I always got fish and chips.
Yep.
Quality.
Lee, you might have forgotten, but when rest of the lads heard about this, they used to go on had a bike ride. They brought the bikes in, didn't they? We had about 5 or 6 injured lads then, and we used to keep, and we all went for fish and chips. We'd keep money down. So don't even try and play that down. That would all
jacket, potato and salad.
Rubbish.
It's all coming out now.
Yeah.
Boothie, obviously, you were at the stadium on Wednesday. The lads were training down there. I saw you managed to catch a few minutes of it, but it looked competitive, didn't it, with the lads? And they looked in good spirits as well.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I was surprised. That's the first time I've really watched training for a long time, for years. Because obviously I'm based at the stadium now, and the training's down at Canal Side. And
you're a very busy man.
Exactly. You thank you. But
How many times a week do you go to the chip shop still?
I can't now. I've got to watch my weight now. I'm not doing any training, Stabby.
Get out of it. Don't believe a word of it.
Joe Wicks, I've heard.
Joe Wicks did me a favour in lockdown. 9 months of Joe Wicks, and I think I lost the score. but going back to training, Adam, I've seen probably about 6 or 7 years. I've not seen the training, and it's the first time I've seen Carlos and his staff, and I could not believe the intensity they trained with, the speed. It was unbelievable. I obviously I knew what the speed that we used to play, the game that we played, and it was probably 50% less than what they're training at. And I was talking to Lee Bromby and John Worthington, and they said obviously the game now has just completely changed, which we know that, but looking, but I was amazed, and all the lads look fit, they look fresh. So I think if they do anything like they did what I watched on Wednesday, and the intensity they trained with, take that to Coventry on Saturday, and they'll have no problem. And then we'll get the point that we need, that we can look forward to then Championship football next season.
Absolutely. Guys, this has been thoroughly enjoyable, but we'll have to end it there. Town fans, you can obviously watch the game against Coventry on iFollow HTAFC. It's available to season card holders for free. If you're not a season card holder, then you can purchase a match pass for £10. Thank you very much for watching.